Hey everybody, welcome to Bura Tech. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how the class of 2020 is so incredibly screwed. And if you are in the class of 2020, I'm going to give you some really good advice. Alright, welcome back. Before we start this video, I want to make sure that you like and subscribe. The more likes and subscribers we get, the more content we can make. So, if you're graduating right now, whether that be high school or college or from your master's degree or from a boot camp, this year is going to be incredibly challenging for you. And I know a thing or two about this because I graduated in 2008. And for me personally, it took about 4 years before I got a really awesome job. And I was one of the lucky ones. Now you can actually go around the internet and find some people that have graduated between 2007 and 2010, and for them, sometimes they've taken 4, maybe 5 or 6 years before they actually got a really good job. Even from 2008 to about 2011, I actually did have jobs, which I was incredibly lucky, but the jobs weren't very good. So how do you prosper in such a tough environment? Now this advice that I'm about to give you can be applied to anyone who is changing their life. That can be either graduating, or if you've lost your job, or if something else has happened. The one thing that is going to be incredibly challenging this year is finding full-time work. Even now, there are lots of places that are employing people, but not at the salaries they had at the beginning of the year. These salaries can be as low as 50% of what these people were being paid in January. And the reason is very clear. The coronavirus is an incredibly big game changer, and business uncertainty is at an all-time high. I even run an e-learning company, and while lots of people are learning online and from home, and this is probably Mammoth Interactive's best year ever, I don't know what next year is going to have in store for the company. And as a result, even at my own company, I am making sure that I'm making the best decisions possible so that I don't go out of business next year. This is of course compounded if you have a bigger company. The bigger the company, the greater the chance the company will fail. So how do you prosper? Well, the one thing that you need to do is constantly be working whether or not you're being paid. Now, I'm definitely not talking about an unpaid internship, and that is something that you should absolutely not do. Do not do an unpaid internship. And between 2008 and 2011, most of the jobs that I was offered was an unpaid internship, and I absolutely said no way. Now, of course, this is for programming. In other areas such as fashion, perhaps unpaid internships are not a bad idea, but at the end of the day, unpaid internships seem a little bit wrong. So don't take one if you really don't need to. Instead, you need to intern at your own company, meaning that you need to release projects and perhaps even make your own business. This is how Mammoth Interactive was born. I was working multiple jobs and I spent my spare time working on a business, and at the end of 2011, when I had almost no money in the bank account, my business took off. And that could be you in the future. You just have to keep working, and it's going to be really hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. The next 4 years, if you are just entering the job market, is going to be very tough. So you need to take every single dollar that you can get and save it as much as you possibly can. You need to spend as much of your spare time working on your career because it's going to be challenging. Now, it depends, of course, where you live as well. If you live in a rich country with big salaries, a lot of businesses are going to go elsewhere because the labor is much more cheap. And because everyone's working from home, whether you're in California or Lithuania, it doesn't really matter as long as the work gets done. Remember that if you are in a rich country with big salaries, then demand destruction of these jobs is a real possibility in the future. And this is not very good. So before, you had to compete with people that you lived around. Now you have to compete with literally everybody in the world, and it is a big place. So as a business owner, I can understand how competitive it can be. And one of the hardest things that I had to learn personally when I graduated from university was how competitive the world is and how poor my skills actually were. When you just graduate or you're just starting a new career, there are so many people that are way better at you than what you do. And you need to understand that you need to get to that level as soon as possible. And the way to do that is to constantly work. You need to spend at least 7 to 10 hours a week working on your career. At least. If you can spend more, that's great. Now that is about an hour a day. If you can spend 1 hour a day making GitHub projects, making something that you can add to your resume, then you will be farther ahead. And I guarantee you that if we took two people, one person to maybe not work on their career, and the other person that would constantly get maybe 1 to 2 projects out a month, in 6 months, that second person will absolutely get ahead and will probably have a job over this one person. Remember that if you are, let's say, 20 to 25 years old, if you spend an hour a day on something that improves your skill, by the time you're 30, you will be absolutely unstoppable. Now, the most successful people spend almost all of their day improving their skills. They only watch YouTube videos that help them out, kind of like this channel here, so please be sure to like and subscribe. So the most successful people spend a lot of their time making their skill set better. They do not waste their time, and by the time these people are 30 and 40 years old, they have so many more hours and so many more skills under their belt, they are absolutely unstoppable. And this could be you too. Remember, if you just spend maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day of focused work, no internet, no social media, just completely focused work, you will be ahead. And this is the one thing that you need to do. Now, one of the things I always teach people at Mammoth Interactive, and the people who take our courses know that we teach people how to make practical projects. So you want to have a really good portfolio of things that work and are useful. The more useful things in your portfolio, the better chance you'll have at getting a job. And if you want to start a side business or a side hustle that is releasing apps to the App Store or making games for Steam, it doesn't really matter what it is. As long as you are releasing something, then you will be farther ahead. And who knows, perhaps one of those projects that you released will actually make money. The other thing that I didn't really do is I didn't focus. Now, while I'm a programmer, my real skill is in big picture ideas, and it's no wonder I'm an entrepreneur that runs a business today, because that is exactly the kind of person that runs a business. However, when I was first starting out, I really should have just focused in on programming, because most of the jobs out there are for programming. Because if programmers don't show up, then perhaps the whole entire digital ecosystem of a company could fall. And that is something that is very useful. If you're into graphic design or UX design, those jobs are a little bit more expendable, although they are important. Programming and the things that make everything work is the most valuable skill you can have right now. So let's recap everything here. If you're graduating or you just lost your job, it's going to be very tough. But the way that you need to approach this situation is that you have a ton of time to improve your skills. If you think of this situation as that, you will be much farther ahead in the future. I guarantee it. I know from personal experience that it was very difficult in the recession years, and I knew that one day I would be making a 6-figure income, and that absolutely happened. In fact, in 2012, I paid more taxes than I made in 2011. That is the reality of it. I actually paid more taxes than my entire income, and I was absolutely blown away, and it's been up ever since. And that can be you too. But during those recession years, it was a Sisyphusian struggle to get anywhere, and it eventually paid off. So if you think of this time as a time to learn new skills and get better and be the best person you can be, I guarantee you that 2, 3, or 5 years in the future, you will be much better than you are today. All right, so that concludes this video. Please share your comments down below. We really do like the comments. Also, please be sure to like and subscribe. The more likes and subscribers we get, the more content that you can make. Remember that this channel doesn't do a Patreon. Instead, we sell our digital products down below. The more money we get from the content that you buy below, the more products we can make. The best thing you can do to help out this channel and my company, Mammoth Interactive, is to subscribe to our monthly Mammoth Interactive Ultimate subscription. We release 20 to 60 hours of fresh new content per month. And these are, of course, practical projects that help you on your resume. And by the way, we just released a new course that shows people how to pass the coding interview. Links to all of that down below. Again, if you really like this channel, a subscription is the best way to help us out. We have monthly and yearly options. Our goal is to get to 10,000 monthly subscribers. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in another video.